Hey, my name is Chesobide. Yes, Chesobide. It's an African name. It means hope expected. And that's the premise upon which I try to live my life. I actually live my life on that premise. I'm a storyteller, a scribe, and an encourager, which means I tell stories, either sometimes written, but a lot of the time also verbal. I have found that telling stories is the easiest way and the best way to catalog life. I'm also a scribe, which that means if you look at the historical meaning of scribe, a scribe is somebody who writes about history, who records history. And many of our historians in the olden days did history in the written form and according to their perspectives. So, one of the things I find very interesting is that African history isn't always written from our perspective. When we talk about slavery, it's from the white man's perspective. And even as that is their valid right, we do have a right to tell our history. So I'm a scribe, which means I record the history of the world, not in the conventional form that many of us would think about it. I like to do it differently. So we'll be uncovering that as we go along. The third thing I said I was is an encourager. Now, in our current day, a mentor is what we're looking for. And not all of us can have mentors. I believe a mentor is somebody you walk with for life. It's somebody who's there every time you need to ask a question. But then there are people who come across your path who are not there forever, but they give you critical insights, insights that are important to where you're going, and insights that will shift your perspective on life. That's me. I find I go into a lot of spaces and I talk to a lot of people, and we may not interact one to one for very long, but we say enough for the person to go and rethink their life. And it helps that I'm a curious mind. Because I tell stories, of course, I'm always thinking, and I see in pictures. So there are things that you may not find funny that because of how my mind works, I can see it in a different direction. All right. And I'm always looking for the real story. What's the real story? So let me give you an example. So this morning, let me just create it. Okay, so this morning James made me mad. Okay. The question I will ask myself is what gives James the capacity to make me annoyed? All right. He could have done something annoying, right? But I don't have to get angry. So the question I would ask myself is there something that James could have done differently, right? That would have been less annoying, all right? Does that make sense? Or is it that there's something within me that gives James the capacity to annoy me? So I like to look at what are the hooks in our lives that enable us to respond to things that way. And then I tell it like as I see it. So I'm inviting you on a journey. It's actually a very personal walk. For a long time I've realized a lot of us are looking at life and wondering why is so and so much farther than me. But so and so didn't tell you the truth, the full story. Many of us are telling the successes, but nobody is really talking about the difficult times. So I want us to walk through life together. If you'll allow me into your space, I will share my space and just have candid conversations about life. Interesting stuff, funny stuff, serious stuff. Ask questions about how we think, how we connect to life, how we really do these things. Um, I'm walking life and I realize that life is not, one, is not permanent. It will end someday. And two, it's not about being tough and strong and battling it out. You will have bad days. You will have exceedingly good days. And I'm learning that the trick in life is to figure out how to deal with each of those days. So I want to invite you on a journey that will make you more aware of life, that will force you to grow if you want to, and that will hopefully encourage you to be vulnerable enough to live life real. That's really what this journey is going to be about. So I invite you to join me. And I encourage you, if you hear something that um, challenges your thinking, stop and think. Don't react. Stop and think, and then come back and let's have a discussion. All right? So see you soon on the next episode.